Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we have a beer that is half Swedish, half American, two very good breweries involved today, so I'm sure it will be something that's really interesting to try, and I have actually had a taste of this beer before. So for this one we are going to go to Omnipollo from Sweden, and we're having a taste of a beer that they did in collaboration with Trillium Brewing Co, who are from Boston in Massachusetts. So this beer is called the Covered in Puppies. It's an Imperial IPA, a double IPA, however you want to describe it, and it comes in at 8.1%, and it should be really quite nice. I think I had a rating of 97 overall on Rate Beer and a 93 within the style. I actually tried this beer when I was at Omnipollo's Hat with my dad over in Stockholm a few weeks back, and this beer had just been released at the Systembolaget as well as part of one of their small partiers, so I'm glad that I'm finally getting to review one of these for you, because I know in the bar I thought this was really quite nice. We tried it when it was actually really fresh, so I'm interested to see how the bottled version holds up as well, but it should be a really nice beer. I enjoyed it when it was on tap, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one, and it is cool to see another collaboration from these guys. I did the Outside the Lines, I'm sure it was called before, which was a lovely imperial stout that these guys did together, so hopefully something at the other end of the scale turns out just as good. Trillium, of course, are particularly known for their IPAs and their big hazy IPAs and stuff like that. So yeah, it should be a good beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done, both from Omnipollo and from Trillium. No doubt there will be some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you, and one for all the American beers. Both are being constantly added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, on to the brewery notes then. So we'll start off with Omnipollo. So Omnipollo was founded back in 2011 by Henok Fenty, a long-time homebrewer whose family, of course, originally came from Ethiopia and Africa, and Carl Grandin, who was a clothing designer. But the two met one day and they decided that they wanted to start a brewery together after discussing how insular the craft beer scene was in Sweden and abroad, of course, as well. But they wanted to reinvigorate it from both a kind of stylistic and a gastronomic sense, so they felt that the partnership between a kind of a clothing designer and a home brewer was really quite logical, and Henok, of course, is a really quite talented brewer. So the name Omnipollo is derived from omnipotent chicken, so pollo, of course, Spanish for chicken, and these guys are gypsy brewers, so they do have no brewery of their own, but rather they use the spare capacity at various other breweries, and they brew many collaboration beers as a result of this. They brew most of their beers at the De Proefbrouwerij in Lochristenhoofde near Ghent in Belgium. They brew a good number of them. I think some of the big imperial stouts are brewed at Duyes, and I think, I'm trying to remember where some of the other ones are brewed, but they brew quite a few beers in Sweden these days as well, which is pretty cool considering they are a Swedish company, because I know a lot of the Danish gypsy breweries, they still brew most of their beers over in Belgium as well. But today they're exporting to well over 30 different countries, and they're continually expanding. They also have their Omnipollo's Hat Bar, which I mentioned a minute ago. I went there with my dad in Stockholm. They do some awesome pizza there. It's a collaboration with a pizza company called Pizza Hut, and you know, that's become really a bit of a craft beer hub over in Sweden, and it's somewhere that I really do recommend that you have a look at. Definitely one of the best craft beer places to go in Sweden. It's quite close to Oliver Twist as well, and there is another bar around there that's supposed to be very good, but I can't quite remember the name of it. But if you go to that part of Stockholm, there is some really good craft beers to be had there, and Omnipollo's Hat is somewhere that you must go when you're in the city. But yeah, really nice brewery. This one, I've had a lot of good beers from them, and it is cool, like I say, to see them do another collab with Trillium. So as I say, you can go and check out my other Omnipollo reviews, and there will be some more in the near future. Check out the brewery website in the description below and have a look at them on Facebook and things. You can always keep up to date with what's going on. Like I said, they do a lot of collaborations, so it's definitely worth following them. So anyway, over to Boston then, and I'll look for a look at Trillium. So as I've told you before, Trillium Brewing Company opened in March of 2013, and and it was founded by JC and Esther Tetro, and apparently Esther and JC just started out brewing beers to celebrate their marriage, and then they'd enjoyed it so much that they decided to go professional and found their own company. So the brewery were initially based in the Fort Point area in South Boston, and they only had a 10-barrel system, but this site has since been upgraded to have 2,500 BBLs, and they also have a secondary facility now at Canton, which opened back in December of 2015. So this one has a 16,000 square foot facility, and they brew 35,000 BBLs annually. I think they might have actually expanded that a little bit since I got those figures, but in 2016 the brewery also began canning their beers, and they basically say that their biggest challenge over the next few years is to manage their growth, because they've become one of these kind of white whale breweries along with the likes of Treehouse and things in the northeast. These guys are one of the ones that have really kind of peddled the New England IPA, this kind of hazy IPA, the likes of Hill Farmstead Brewery up there as well. There's a lot of really good craft breweries up in New England these days. Of course, mainly before, the focus was on the west coast and the likes of California. Oregon, of course, was one that sort of started to follow after that. Colorado is a very good craft beer state, and then New England as a kind of collective has really started to kick it off in recent years as well. But yeah, a really good brewery, as I say, quite famous for the hazy IPAs. You've seen me review a few of those on the channel. My parents were over there recently and brought me back 6 different cans to review, which was awesome, and I really enjoyed them. So hopefully I can get out and visit one of their breweries at some point, and hopefully I can review some of the Treehouse stuff as well. But yeah, as I say, New England, very good craft brewery place these days, and of course Trillium are one of the breweries that are really at the forefront of that. Definitely one of these kind of American white whale breweries. So again, the brewery website's in the description below if you want to learn a little bit more. Follow them on Facebook and see everything that's going on. And one thing, do be aware with these guys, even though they're famed for their IPAs, do make sure you try some of the dark beers. I reviewed the Pot and Kettle recently, which was a nice porter that they do, and the dark beers certainly don't disappoint either. So as I say, check out the websites for both these breweries, check out my other reviews that involve both of them as well, and you can get an idea of what's going on there. But as I say, it's cool to see these guys coming together for another collaboration beer. So yeah, let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. Then there you can see the Puppies. I do actually like that. I think I'll need to steam the label off this one, but yeah, it looks really nice. And some of this kind of classic Omnipollo artwork, of course. I think this is Carl Grandin's work. He does a lot of the label design and things like that. There you can see on the back, covered in Puppies, 8.1% Imperial IPA. Plain bottle cap on this one, as you tend to get with these Omnipollo beers. And you can even see just in the bottle, I mean, I don't know how well that's showing up in the light here on the camera, but you can tell just from looking at the bottle, this is going to be a kind of one of these Haze for Days IPAs, as Rob from Hopsing likes to call it. But without further ado, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting then. So yeah, nice smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out and into the glass. As I said, when I tried this beer in Omnipollo hat with my dad, he thought it was really good as well. And I think we were trying it when it was very fresh, because it still had that really kind of sharp floral part on the hops as well. But I remember it being very nice. So yeah, as you can see and as you would expect, it's a nice big hazy IPA. So there's a solid finger of a frothy head on this one. I would say that head is mainly cream coloured. It's not perfect white, that one. You can see if I put my fingers behind the glass, the beer is quite opaque. There's not really any transparency to it at all. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, you know, it looks pretty much as you would expect. I think this one is supposed to be one of these Imperial New England style IPAs. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Ooh, that smells really nice. So straight away with this one, you're getting a little bit of mango. When you're a bit further back from it, there's definitely a bit of a kind of orangey character to it. I think it's more orange than tangerine, to be honest, so I do wonder if there is a bit of Amarillo in here. The guys in the bar, actually, I'm sure I asked them what hops were in this, and I think Amarillo was actually one of them. But yeah, there's definitely an orangey component to this beer. There's a bit of pineapple as well, which is quite interesting. Definitely some pineapple in there. It's got quite a kind of creamy, bready malt base to it. It's almost got like a kind of, like, I want to say like a sort of dusty white breadish quality to it, if that makes sense. You can definitely smell that nice kind of bready note to this beer. So especially when you sugar it up, do pay attention to that. The kind of bready, it's almost like a creamy, dusty sort of bready note that's coming out of this beer. You can definitely pick up a little bit of the oats that come out of this one. It does remind me a little bit to some degree of Fata Morgana, but it does almost smell just a little bit more dusty, if that makes sense. But it does smell nice. There's a little bit of biscuity sweetness in there as well. A little bit of a kind of grassy sort of thing, maybe a touch of floral character, but in terms of the more kind of, how do you say, the sort of fundamental components of the hops, it's more grassy than floral, I would say. But yeah, fruit-wise, definitely some pineapple. I want to say there's maybe a little bit of an apricot-y note on the nose to this one as well. But I think as you go further back from it, definitely some oranges. I want to say some lychees and mango in there. I do think there's some citra in this beer. But yeah, quite an interesting combination of fruit. So yeah, oranges, pineapples, I think mangoes and lychees as well. Not sure about passion fruit or anything like that. It does definitely lean more towards the kind of tropical side of things, but like I was saying, when you're a bit further away from it, you do start to get a little bit of an orangey character out of it. But just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you actually get stuck into this beer. That's always half the experience when it comes to these craft beers. But without further ado, let's actually have a taste of this one then. So this one is the Covered in Puppies, a collaboration double IPA, 8.1% from Omnipollo, originally from Stockholm in Sweden, but a gypsy brewery, and brewed in collaboration with Trillium Brewing Co from Boston over in Massachusetts in America. Let's get stuck into this one then. Slàinte, skål, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Well, I'll tell you something. That beer is actually better than I remember it being. It's maybe the conditioning, right enough. Maybe I actually prefer it in the bottle conditioning. And I have said that about a few beers, that I preferred them in the bottle than I did in the on the tap and things like that. I have said that about a few beers before, and this one, from what I can remember, might be one. It could well be that I tried one or two of these different Omnipollo beers, and I always find if you do that, I always like taking a bit of time between trying a beer, to be honest, because if you do like a kind of, you know, when I've done hangouts with the YouTube guys and stuff like this, when we've actually gone and had a meet up and a bottle share and stuff, I always find if you drink too many beers in quick succession, you just don't appreciate them in quite the same way, I think. If you want to actually do it from a tasting perspective, you need to leave a little bit of time, and I think this is maybe one of these beers, because I did have 2 or 3 with my dad. I think this is one that at the time, because of that, I didn't quite appreciate in the same way. But I'll say this right away, this is a bloody good beer. They've done a great job with this, but with these breweries involved, you know, it's to be expected. That's really damn good, that. I can see right away why it's highly rated. You know, it's definitely up there, that one, with the likes of you know, the Amazing Haze and things like that. It's and the, you know, the new Sweden IPA from Uppigårds as well. In terms of the Swedish IPAs that have been produced, that one's definitely up there. It's got a completely different feel to it, right enough, but in terms of quality, it definitely kind of belongs up there in my mind. The thing I'm noticing about this one, it's probably, out of all these kind of Swedish hazy IPAs that you're going to come across, this one's definitely got a slightly thicker malt base to it. That's the thing that's kind of jumping out to me about this beer. So you can feel a little bit of that kind of pale malty character. It blankets the middle of your tongue, and then as it kind of crosses into your palate, the beer just starts to thicken out a little bit, which is quite nice. In the middle of your palate, you start to get the kind of oaty sweetness there. As you progress further and further into the aftertaste, you can feel that smoothness and slightly sweet character from the oats just kind of building out. As you go right down the middle of the tongue as well, you've got a nice little bit of a kind of biscuity flavour in there as well, which is really nice. Yeah, as I say, the thing that's sticking out to me about this one, compared with some of the other ones, it's definitely got more of a kind of bready quality to it than some of the other ones. I mean, as I say, the Amazing Haze, the Narangi, and the new Sweden IPA, they're slightly sweeter actually, and the malt base doesn't feel as thick, if you like. This one definitely has a slightly thicker malt base to it, but it certainly works for it. They've done a nice job with this one. I have to, you know, you'll tell that right away when you taste this beer. It's definitely unique from the perspective of its malt base. So yeah, pay attention to that, particularly when you try this one. On the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, there's a little bit of earthiness there, just a small touch of it. I do wonder maybe if there could be a little bit of mosaic in this one, but I'm not quite sure about that. I think there could be a little bit of Equinaut or something in there, just going by the taste. I can't quite remember, but yeah, a little bit of earthiness in the back corners of the palate. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you can feel a little bit of a spicy, kind of floral aromatic note there, and then round the very front curve of the palate, you've got a little bit more of a kind of lighter and sort of grassy flavour to it. And of course, just behind that front curve of the tongue, that's where you get this little oily bubble, where all the fruity characters start to come out of the beer, and that's definitely where the kind of complex part of this one starts to unravel. Yeah, that's really quite nice, I have to say. So yeah, I think in terms of the fruity flavours with this one, I'm definitely getting a little bit of, there's definitely a bit of mango in here. I do reckon there is citra in this beer, because you're getting, as you go further into the aftertaste, there's a little bit of a kind of light cheese and maybe slightly limey note in this one. Maybe there's a bit of a melony character as well, and maybe some lime. There's quite a lot of fruity notes, I think, coming out of this beer as well. There's definitely a little bit of an orangey, tangerine flavour as well, which is interesting. There's a whole host of things going on with this beer. It is a little bit of a kind of fruit salad. I mean, if I had to guess the hops, I'd say maybe, I do reckon there's a bit of citra in there. There could be a little bit of Equinaut or something like that. It does have a little bit of an almost kind of melony quality. Maybe there's a little bit of lime in there as well. In the aftertaste, I think there is a wee touch of lime or something like that, which makes me wonder if there's a bit of Equinaut in there. I'm wondering, you know, there is a wee kind of bit of blueberry tangerine sort of thing, and that's the mosaic. So maybe there's a little bit of mosaic. I'm not sure. I thought there was maybe Amarillo in this one, going by the aroma, because it was more of an oily orange that was coming out of this beer, but going by the flavour, it's making me think a little bit more of mosaic. And of course, it doesn't particularly matter what hops in it. It's always just fun to kind of guess from the flavours and from the aroma. But I mean, you've seen me mention all these fruits, and there's a lot of that coming out as well. And to be honest, when you make that transition, when you start moving into the aftertaste, I think there's a little bit of a kind of pineapple-y note, kind of resins in this one as well, which again would be a sort of another indicator that there's a bit of mosaic in there too. You can get a little bit of a pineapple-y flavour from mosaic, and sometimes from the citra as well. But it's a really interesting beer, this one, and in terms of fruity complexity, this is one of the better IPAs that I've come across in that regard recently. But as I say, the main kind of sticking point for me with this one is that malt base and the thickness that it has. It really works quite well, and it's a really nice kind of change of pace compared to some of the other ones that I've had recently. Not that the other beers have been bad, of course, but it is always cool to have things that are just a little bit different and sort of push the boundaries a little bit. And you know, Omnipollo and Trillium, that's something that they both have been doing, really. But yeah, a lovely, lovely beer, this one. So in terms of the mouthfeel then, I'd say this guy is mid-bodied. I think it's definitely mid-bodied. Yeah, definitely a mid-bodied beer. Carbonation on this one's very smooth. It has a little bit of an oily quality to it. You'll notice that about this one, but at the same time, it has that typical smooth. This one isn't quite creamy right enough just because of the thicker mouthfeel, but it definitely has that kind of smoothness that you expect of the sort of New England IPA. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. That said, it's not going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs. There's a lovely bit of fruity, juicy character to this one. Like I said, the fruity complexities, I think, in this one are pretty pronounced. There's quite a lot of nice fruity, juicy character in this one. And of course, you've got that malt base in there. There's a little bit of sweetness to it, but overall it does kind of lean towards the sort of wheaty, bready side of things more than anything. But it's a lovely, lovely beer, and I'm certainly glad that I got to have a review of this on the channel for you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on this one. It's been a real kind of pleasure to review this beer. This is one of the best IPAs I've had in a little while, actually, so I do recommend that you have it. And I do particularly like ones like this, that they just change it up a little bit and there is something a bit different. As I say, the unique point about this is definitely how kind of thick that malt base is, but a lovely, lovely beer, and one that I definitely recommend that you have a go at. So I think that's a good place to kind of sign off on this one. So this one was the Covered in Puppies, an 8.1% Imperial IPA, a collaboration between Omnipollo from Stockholm in Sweden and Trillium from Boston over in Massachusetts in America. So a lovely, lovely beer, and one that you definitely need to check out. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from both breweries with this one as well. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. But most importantly, have a taste of some of these Omnipollo beers and some of the Trillium ones if you're watching over in America. I do wish we could get Trillium over in Europe a little bit more easily, but this is one that you definitely want to check out. Make sure you go and check out Omnipollo's hat as well if you're watching from Stockholm. A lovely, lovely little pizza beer bar anyway. So yeah, until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Awesome, awesome beer. Skål.